Everybody, today we are launching a new series where we're going to kind of go over what's happening in the chess world, and we're kind of launching in on a very busy week. We have this announcement that you see from chess.com and Gotham Chess, aka Levy Rozman, and we have the US Championships and the JSCC just concluded, so we have a lot to go over. Let's dig into Levy Rozman. So he just signed a new contract with Chess.com, and part of that contract allows Levy to give away $100,000 to chess teams around the U.S. that are looking to improve. So I'm not going to read through the article, but he's basically going to give away grants from anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000, and that's going to pay for just their expenses that come with traveling around and doing these chess tournaments. So I think Levy used to be a chess. I mean, I know he used to be a chess coach, and I think he used to help some school in New York City, and so this is something that's near and dear to him, bringing up these kind of scholastic chess players. So it's very cool to see Levy do something like this. I mean, he's the number one chess YouTuber right now. I think he's got like 1.2 million subs. Although I think we're hot on his tail, so you better watch out, Levy. And this is a great picture of him. So it's very cool to see him giving back $100,000. I mean, that's a serious amount of money. So thank you, Levy. And speaking of Levy, he is actually playing in a tournament right now. So he's playing in the 2021 Spice Cup. I think this stands for Susan Polgar something, International Chess something, and he's been posting recaps of each of his games on his YouTube channel, and they are very fascinating videos. He has played, I think, 4 rounds as of right now. At least he's uploaded 4 videos, and I think he is 2.5 out of 4. So he is trying to get a Grandmaster Norm, or just kind of boost his rating and kind of get into that Grandmaster conversation. I don't know if he has any norms. I don't think he does. So he needs 3 norms and a 2500 rating, and he will become a Grandmaster. He's got quite a bit of he's got a lot of ways to go though. So I think he's rated 2360 or something like that. So he needs to gain 140 rating points and become and get 3 norms. So one question I had a lot is, how do you get a Grandmaster Norm? And I wrote a post on this. I think this is the very first post I ever wrote for ChessGoals, actually. And it's basically explaining how you can get a Grandmaster Norm. So in order for Levy to get a norm in this event, he needs to play very well, and he needs to face the right opponents. So you have to have a performance rating of 2600, I guess 259.2 or 2599.5, and they'll round it up. And you can kind of estimate what score you need in the tournament based on how difficult your opponent, or how difficult your opposition is. So if he plays all players rated 2680, he's going to need 3.5 points. If he plays all people rated 2600, of course, if you go even, then that gives you a 2600 performance rating. So you have to have a 2600 performance rating. You have to have at least 9 rounds, and I think you have to play Grandmaster, or 3 of your games have to be against Grandmasters, and they have to be from all kinds of different federations. So it's very complex, but this post kind of lays it all out, hopefully in an easy to understand way. So we'll link that down below. I know that's a question I had a ton, and a lot of people have too. All right, so after Levy Rozman, the Junior Speed Chess Championship today came to a conclusion, and if you haven't seen it, I'm going to spoil it in 2 seconds, so you have 1 second to close the video. Nihal Sarin won the event today against Ronak Sadhwani. So Nihal Sarin, I think it's Sarin, was the 1 seed, and he pretty much just plowed through everyone. So you can see the bracket here. Let's see if I can zoom it in a little bit. 20-7, 23-4, 20-9, and then 17-10. So no one even really close. Today's match against Sadwani was actually a lot closer than the score says. So at the end of, I think Nihal Sarin won the 5-1 4-3, or maybe 4.5, 3.5. And Sadwani lost the first couple games in 3-1, but he ended up winning, I think, 3 in a row or 2 in a row and cut it to 1. And he was actually only down by 1 going into the bullet. And then Nihal Sarin just really outplayed him in the bullet and had a really good. I mean, he won by 7, so he must have been like +6 in the bullet. So it was a really good event to see some of these juniors. I see a lot of names that you're probably familiar. So Magzudlu, Pragnananda, Jeffrey Zhang, Christopher Yu, Hans Niemann. Lots of really good players, and Nihal Sarin came out on top. So congrats to Nihal Sarin. He wins a place into the Speed Chess Championship, so he can play against the very best speed chess players in the world. So it'll be interesting to see how a qualifier does kind of in the main SEC. And I want to go over next the U.S. Championship and the U.S. Women's Championship. So again, if you don't want this result spoiled, I'm going to spoil it in about 2 seconds. So this event was won by Carissa Yip, and she really outplayed everybody. She had a wonderful performance, 8.5 out of 11. Or is it out of 10? Okay, out of 11. So she won by a full 1.5, which is pretty crazy. And she actually had it completely wrapped up at the end of round 10. So she was up by a 1.5 after round 10. She could have lost her last game and still won the tournament if the second place player won. One thing I really liked about this very last round, actually. So here's Carissa's game. You can see, I'm not going to analyze the game or anything, but let's go just kind of pick it up on move 26. So she has a completely losing position here. She is -5.5. She's down a pawn. She has pretty much no space. Bad pawn here. King is pretty open. These rooks have just ton of scope. Oops. And her pieces are just kind of doing nothing. But she managed to fight all the way back and actually get a draw in this game. So I don't know what was the decisive move or anything. Looks like she's much worse here. And after a5 on move 47, I guess Carissa found a way to equalize and draw. So it's really cool that she had won the tournament. It was in the bag, and she was in a lost position in the last round, and she still didn't give up. She just fought on and made a draw. So I'm glad she didn't end her tournament on a sour note or anything and take away the great tournament she had. So congrats to Carissa Yip. And next I want to go over the U.S. Championship. Again, if you don't want this spoiled, I'm about to spoil it. Let's pick up what happened in round 11. So going into round 11, there was a 3-way tie for first place. It was Fabiano, Wesley So, and Sam Sevian. So Sam drew his game very early, and Wesley So played a slightly longer game, but he had a pretty quick draw as well. So it all came down to the game Fabiano versus Sam Shankland. And Fabiano had the white pieces here. We'll just quickly go through it. He played a Catalan type of setup, nice closed Catalan castles. This is stuff that I play. Yep, a5, capture here with the queen. And now we have kind of opposing bishops. This is a common plan. Go for a big center. And I think that's kind of what happened here. Maybe not quite. So got a big center. So white has a nice position, and this is something that you could totally press for a win. So just a reminder, Fabi is now playing, I think, somewhere around in here. Both of the players that he was tied for first had already drawn. So he knows if he wins this game, he wins a tournament outright. So we can kind of go through very quickly. And the move I want to focus on is right here. So here, white has a nice big center. His rooks are doing a lot, and I think Sam shocked everyone when he sacrificed his queen. So queen takes knight. Um, Not sound. You can see the question exclamation point there. But a very interesting way to kind of go about holding a draw here. So let's kind of see what happens over the next 5 moves, or next few moves rather. So let's keep track of material here. Black trades his queen for a knight and a rook. But look how open White's king is. I think Black is trying to go for some kind of perpetual, or looking for some way to hold this position against Fabi. I think he thought maybe in this position, if he just kind of played normal moves, he is just going to get outplayed and Fabi's going to find a way to beat him. So instead, he's going to go for something a bit more dynamic and not strategic, but tactical, and try to play for a draw. So we can play a few moves here. We can see the advantage kind of growing. But in this position, Black had a winning move, and I think it was just pushing this pawn. So let's turn on the engine. So only winning move in this position is to push the pawn, and that's going to be a tricky pawn to stop. It's already on the 6th rank, just two free moves away from promotion. But instead, Fabi played rook d1. Looks again like a natural move, but this is somehow a draw. I'm not going to try to claim that I know why it's a draw or how it's a draw, but at the end, they ended up in a draw in this position, and there's just nothing to do here. Okay, so that was round 11. If we go, so after round 11, there was 3 players tied for first. It was Wesley So, I just said these, Wesley So, Fabiano Caruana, and Sam Sevian. And they played a 3-game tiebreaker. It's just like a very mini round robin. It is they had 10 minutes per game with a 2-second delay, so no increment. First game was Wesley versus Fabiano. And Fabiano plays an English system, and this is all very much in book, so we're not going to analyze. I want to focus on one move right. See if I can find it further. Okay, so right here. So after rook a5, you can see the engine already pointing this out, but Fabi trains the rook and he finds the only move that keeps the advantage, and it's actually a borderline winning advantage. I want to turn the engine off, and that's sacrificing the knight. Knight c6 check. So completely giving away a piece. Of course, Black should take it, otherwise he's going to lose a rook. So take. And now Fabi has a mini decision which way to take. Both are okay, but this capture is much better because this pawn is much more mobile. And now White has a bit of a problem. So if Black has a bit of a problem. So Black can't really go anywhere with this bishop. All these squares are taken. So let's say he goes back. We can push here. And if White tries to stop this with the rook, so I guess they want to go here and we can just promote. There's another line too where if Black just plays back and tries to play his rook up, he runs into this knight forking the king and the rook. So I guess one thing I was thinking of is bishop back. We can actually push this pawn, and then they can't take because we win the rook. So instead, Wesley takes the pawn, and White is winning here, so plus 2.4. After a few more moves, though, Fabiano actually blunders into a blockade that Black can have. So now Black has all these squares perfectly covered, and there's really nothing to do with these great-looking pawns. So after all that, now Wesley seems like he has the winning chances. And you can kind of see Fabi go wrong over the next few moves. c4, can't take it because the knight defends. And then Black's pawns are just coming very quickly. We'll play over the next few moves pretty quickly, and that is game over. So Fabiano resigned. So at the end of the first tiebreaker game, Wesley was up. Wesley had 1 point. Fabi lost, so he had 0. And the second game was Sam Sevian and Fabiano. In this game, Fabiano won, so I'm not going to go over each move, but it was a very smooth victory. He actually had a really great move at the end right here, sacrificing his own rook. So rook down, rook f2. Rook e2. Nothing is on that square. If we take it, which is what happened in the game, we take back with the pawn, and now black has a double threat. Takes our rook or this nasty fork, and there's no way to get out of it. Sam had the desperado take the rook, or take the pawn with his rook, and he's just down a full piece here, and it's game over. He resigns. So in the very last game to decide the championship, it was Wesley So against Sam Sevian, and Wesley So had one win. Sam Sevian had nothing, so Sam had to actually win this game in order to force a blitz tiebreaker. Wesley played a very nice game. I'm not going to go over this game because it was basically just a slaughter. We can see Wesley play much quicker, much more solid, and went on to win the game. At the very end, he actually had mate in 2. And that's when Sam resigned, and Wesley won the tournament. So great result for Wesley. He's the first back-to-back champ in a while. So it was really cool to see. I think Wesley is going to... He's been winning a lot of these tournaments. He's been beating even Magnus in like playoffs and in the Grand Chess Tour online events that they were doing. So I really hope that Wesley kind of puts things together and can have a good candidate tournament next time around. And maybe we'll have another U.S. challenger for the World Chess Championship. That'd be very cool. So that was this week in chess. I hope you liked this video. Let me know what you guys thought. I just kind of thought it would be a good idea to go over just the chess news. So we're trying something new. Let us know what you think if you want to see more, or let us know if you hate it. All right. Thanks, everyone. See ya.